Welcome back to Geek Show Arcade.
Beep boop.
It's video game time.
It's video
Hey
game
guys,
time.
I'm excited for this. There's some good news here.
There's a lot of stuff going on here.
There is some good news this week. Let's go ahead and kick it off by introducing our panelists. He's back, and he's full of energy. He's Jaren.
Hey, I'm Jaren.
Stop yawning.
You can find me on Geekshow Help Desk or Geekshow Arcade for a couple more weeks.
Wait, what?
What? Are
What
you
does
announcing
that-
something?
What does that mean?
No, I'll be here for a couple more weeks at least.
Okay,
That's a
so
good-
will I,
that's-
I guess.
We'll hold you to it.
Yeah.
I like that, Jaron. He's just setting expectation. In a couple weeks, Tony thinks could change for him.
Right.
He's not
never
saying they
know.
will, but he just for at least a couple weeks, he's planning to be here.
I mean, look what
never know.
happened with Owen this year. I could be dead in a couple weeks.
He already started statins. So
Exactly.
you could be on your way out, my guy.
All right, well, he's not on his way out. He's better than ever. He's Owen.
I am still alive, and you can find me here, mostly alive, on Geek Show Arcade, Geek Show Help Desk,
we
being
go.
being talked over, and talking over.
Such is the way.
Yep.
And we got Lando.
Hey, it's Lando. I sometimes play video games, mostly just Watcher lately. It's been on the phone. It's all I play. It's crazy. Yeah, that's me. And a host, Tony.
Some might say I play too many video games. I don't believe it, though. I know people that play way more video games than me. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Check me out on Twitter at QuadTTony or on other Geek Show podcasts. All right. Being that it is the beginning of the episode, do we have any emails?
Yeah.
Boy, just
Don't
that
sound so excited,
excitement.
Jared.
that
Man,
sounded
it's,
so excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
we beg people to write it to us, and then Jared's like, "Yeah, they actually did."
They did. Now I got to read them.
There's 4. Am I supposed to read all 4?
Yes.
Let's do two this week.
Okay. All right. We got one from, he actually sent it to Help Desk, but it is most definitely a gaming email. Got one from Tommy Hazelwood. PC Gaming. Hi, Gadget Spotters. I'm considering getting into PC gaming and will be using for 3D
Spotters.
modeling and video editing. Don't have much knowledge about the differences in specs and brands, so I'm trying to find the best option that fits within my $1,000 budget without sacrificing on performance. I've been looking at PC part picker, pre-builds, gaming laptops, or heard that many PCs offer decent specs at a lower price. What would be the best direction to go?
Dude, I
Probably
have
pre-built. If
Yeah.
you're-
If you
you're
don't want to
not-
wait till Black Friday or Prime Days, I
Yep.
found that part picking during Prime, you can get a pretty good PC
but if
and have a lot more spend for your GPU.
But
During
if
those
it's not
times.
during the sale season, then your
Yeah.
best bet's going to be a pre-built. Probably
Yep.
like I would look at Lenovo's
Lenovo.
desktops.
Newegg sells a lot of pre-builts too.
Yep,
If you wanna-
Costco has some. You don't really want to go with the boutique stuff like Exotic PC or Falcon Northwest or somewhere like that because they charge a premium for their stuff.
For
But-
the customization, yeah.
Yep, but for your standard, MSI, I think has some pre-builts. Lenovo,
do you think about
Dell
those-
has some pre-builts.
Well, yeah. What do you think about those Dell Alienwares? Do you like those?
Yeah, they're fine.
Pre-builts?
Yeah,
I hate them. I hate the form factor. I have one.
I don't like how
And
they look
I
either.
Absolutely, if you have to get
Oh.
into them and work on them, they absolutely suck.
see, I was just talking
saying.
about performance for your dollar.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
fine.
that's true.
What GPU and CPU combo should he get, Tony?
Well, if he's doing, what did it say he was doing? Some
That's video
video rendering
Yeah.
As well as gaming?
as well as gaming. Well, if you could spring for a 4070, I don't know if you'll find one in that price range in a pre-built.
Maybe just the GPU.
I did see,
You
what,
can in
though?
a laptop. I know that.
I did see a but that's a laptop 4070.
Right.
Yeah.
so
Not as
it's
powerful.
Not as
So
powerful.
you said 3D modeling and video editing.
Okay, yeah. I did see actually I think it was a Lenovo that was on sale, sold I think at Walmart the other day. It was a 4070 Lenovo Legion desktop for $999.
I like those Legion. I like the Legion line.
but that was rare. You know, you don't usually see that. Usually the 4070 stuff is going to come in probably around $1,200-$1,300. But if you can find a sale with something that has a 4070, go for it. You want at least a Ryzen 7, whatever gen is current at the time, or a Intel i7 equivalent.
At this point, I say wait for Black Friday because we're close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea for sure. But if you don't have friends or something that build PCs, you're wading into semi-deep waters trying to build it yourself without anyone that's experienced. Not that you can't do it. There's a lot of people that do.
Good time to learn.
Do that, and it is a great learning experience.
I
have
think
a
it's
lot of fun
actually
doing
that hard.
It's not, but when it doesn't go wrong, when it doesn't go right,
Troubleshooting.
That's fair.
troubleshooting
Yeah.
is the
That's
hard
fair.
part. If
That's
it goes
fair.
smoothly, it's a cakewalk. It's super easy.
Make
But
sure
when
you
it
have
doesn't,
everything seated properly.
yep.
Take your time, go slow.
So that's why I kind of recommended going with something like a Lenovo Legion desktop or an MSI or
How do you
Cyberpower
hunt?
PC.
And would you say you hunt deals when it's not Black Friday and you're not part picking? You hunt deals on
Slick deals.
slick deals, and you
Yep.
just set up a reminder, right? So that's what
Yeah,
I
you
would
just-
do.
yep.
If you don't want to wait, and you might even Slick Deals still announces even the deals during Black Friday for pre-builds because even
Yeah,
some
they
of
go-
those will go on sale.
They go
So
big during
yeah.
the Black Friday stuff.
Black Friday pre-builds go they're big deals. So, but what I found is by the time they hit Slick Deals used to be kind of a low key thing.
It's
Now
too
it's
widely
not.
known now.
Now it's known. People go there. Plebs like me go there by default now. Where it used to be like, hey, Jared, Tony, where do you guys get cool stuff?
We did too good of a job, Tony.
And so
This is like your
so
fault,
you gotta
Tony.
move fast. Otherwise, those deals I found are gone or sold out.
Yeah, they get
quick.
snapped up quick.
Yep.
All right, thanks for writing in.
Got another email from Adam Foote. Howdy, G-Spot. Question about buying a used graphics card for a small form PC build I'm planning to plug into my TV. Do you have any advice on not getting scammed or buying a bad card that claims it's in great condition? Any good recommendations other than eBay for reliable secondhand parts? Thanks.
Not
Well-
really. Not if you can't put hands on it. I would
Yeah.
say if you can get hands on it, look to see if the silicone.
Well, you can at
Nice.
least get refunded on eBay.
Yeah, eBay has buyer
they-
protection.
Oh
Yeah.
So that's a
true.
plus. Check your local classifieds, KSL or Craigslist.
that one's
Facebook
tough
Marketplace.
because
How would you guys?
you can't test it.
Yeah, but if they didn't clean, so what I noticed as running my 1070s nonstop for 5 years basically or whatever. What's that lubricant? The oil.
It's that was your
It
heat
leaked
transfer
out.
pads
Yeah,
dying basically.
they basically melted out. I had
Thermal
grease.
pads.
Thermal pads melted out. So you'll see that it's non-conductive. It doesn't ruin them. It just doesn't conduct heat as well, and they don't run as efficiently. But if
Yep.
you see grease marks or whatever, it's kind of a telltale sign of.
Yep.
Also, if you have a GPU that you get that has some Noctua fan zip tied to it because the other fan's literally melted, that would probably be
Stay
a
away
good
from that.
sign. Yeah, that'd probably be a good sign that it's been mined with. So
Yeah, it's tough doing the used parts just because there's a lot of ways you can lose and not a lot of recourse unless you
I
buy
think
it
that-
through someone like eBay.
I think Nvidia would have it would be a good idea to have some of that reporting, like hours used somewhere on the chip.
That would be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
For eBay though, recommend getting an established seller with good reviews.
True.
Big time. That's when
Yeah.
you're buying anything on eBay. That's good advice right there. So, but yeah.
It's hard.
Wait for Black Friday if you can. There'll probably be some deals. Thanks for writing in. Huzzah! All right. So we got 2 more emails that we will save for next week. Let's talk about the Xbox partner preview that they had this week. It was about 22-ish minutes long, and it was just trailer after trailer of upcoming games. They showed off a lot of stuff that was new as well as a lot of stuff that was not new. It was just kind of update on stuff that they've already shown before. I would say the standout for this was probably, well, I mean, it really depends on what your tastes are, but the 2 that got me the most excited, are definitely both from Remedy, Firebreak, and we're going to talk about that one in a little more detail later, and the Lake House Alan Wake 2 expansion. So we knew that was coming. We didn't have a release date or anything yet that I can remember anyway, but it's coming out.
It's out today.
Oh yeah, 22nd. Came out today.
Ooh, I gotta play
Let's
that.
go.
And this is straight up story DLC that continues the story from Alan Wake 2.
Sweet. And it ended kind of on a cliffhanger, if I remember right.
Yeah, definitely. So
Oh, I remember now. Yes, definitely ended on a cliffhanger.
yeah. So that's very exciting. There was another thing showed off that I quite enjoyed, except I'm worried now because of who makes it. It's a game called Chronos: The New Dawn, and it looks like someone took Silent Hill and Dead Space and made a game kind of out of that. It's a horror game, bloody science fiction kind of thing. The problem is, and this is I think this is a double-edged sword. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's the Bloober team making it.
They're uneven, right?
They are uneven, exactly. And so we have no idea, based on their track record, how this will turn out.
Wasn't Silent Hill 2 Bloober?
Yep.
Which ended up being pretty good.
So, well, I'm going to get into that in more detail later as
Okay.
well. It's great with a massive caveat is what it is.
All right.
Another one that was shown off was a game called Blind Fire. And this looked really weird. You go watch the trailer for it, and it's all about fighting a gunfight in dark arenas, and it's got kind of a cyberpunk aesthetic, but it also removes a lot of the light. It's interesting. You'll just have to check out the trailer. It's unique. It might be good. I don't know.
Is it a hero shooter?
No, it looks like just kind of a competitive shooter.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it's hero, no special character based stats and stuff like that. Sega, man, firing on all 12 of their cylinders. They have a lot of cylinders because another Like a Dragon game was announced.
I
And
thought they already announced one.
I don't think this one was one of them that was announced, though. This is a pirate Like a Dragon game. And I don't think this one was already announced before, but it might have been. Yakuza, or Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That's the full title. It's got...
Hey, if you got a name that works,
yeah,
you just keep running with it, okay?
keep rolling with it. It's Yakuza with piratey stuff.
But now,
Nice.
in Hawaii.
Exactly, with pirates. Now, there was
I
another
wonder how
one
that pitch meeting went.
It seems like they don't say no to anything at
Hawaii.
Sega when it's Yakuza
Yeah.
based.
Like,
Hawaii.
These go-
That's not enough. What else?
First of all,
Pirates.
first of all, these come in. They go. First of all, we're just going to say this Yakuza. They're like,
Okay, you have our attention.
Okay, we're already a yes, a soft yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what else you got? Pirates. Okay, I did like those movies. Okay, there you go. You're
Done.
in. Done. Sign it. Ship it.
They showed off some more footage of Mouse PI for Hire. And from a technical aspect, from an art aspect, this is very interesting. It's very reminiscent of Cuphead, but it's fully 3D.
And it's Mickey Mouse.
And is it technically Mickey Mouse?
Well, it is
It's
Mickey
a,
Mouse.
It's a detective mouse.
Common domain Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse.
It's the old one.
Common
Yeah.
domain Mickey Mouse. That's funny.
So you play a pirate. I'm thinking of the other game still. You play a detective mouse who's solving a mystery and going around shooting bad guys. And it
Like you
looks-
do.
Yeah,
Steamboat Willie version.
I love the graphics
Shooting.
on this.
You
It's
do?
black and white, and
They're a
it's
little bouncy,
very
right?
20s,
I
1920s cartoon.
See,
I think it
can't-
looks amazing.
I am impressed at what they're doing, but I can't stand that art style. The 1920s, 1930s bouncing cartoons
Yeah.
where nothing's ever standing still,
You're-
where everything's
you're
always
a hater.
moving to the music.
Because
I am.
they were always writing on paper,
Yeah.
and they couldn't quite get it to line up, so it always looks a little bit bouncy.
Most people would be pretty stoked for this. I see it and I'm just like, I don't like that. I'm a hater on this one for sure. So don't listen to me. If it looks interesting for you, definitely check it out. Spring 2025. Now this one's for all you Subnautica fans. All you got to say is Subnautica 2, and people are interested. It's coming out early access in 2025, and it will be on Game Pass as well. Speaking of Animal Well,
Ah!
out on Xbox Series X Thursday. On Thursday this week. So there you go. It was already out on PlayStation and PC. It is now on Xbox this week, and it is from Big Mode Games for the publisher, which is Video Game Donkeys, video game publishing company that he started a couple years ago, and it's doing quite well. It's very highly regarded on the other platforms. Let's see. We got some JRPG stuff with Eden Zero coming out in 2025. Something called Eternal Strands, which looks, I don't know, looks interesting. It'll be on Game Pass. You have powers and stuff. You take on monsters. It looks kind of like Monster Hunter. Also 2025, it'll be on Game Pass. A couple other things. Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox. If you want to play it on your Xbox, I think that's PC only right now, so it's kind of a big deal for you Phasmophobia fans. And that kind of winds up the stuff that's mostly, well known or whatever. But yeah, they had some good stuff. Now let's talk specifically about Firebreak, because that was shown off there.
FBC Firebreak.
FBC Firebreak, and it was completely out of left field. I don't think anyone knew this was coming.
Yeah, it was hinted at.
Well, all we knew was Remedy was working on a multiplayer,
codename Condor or something like that.
yeah, like a multiplayer game set in the Remedy universe.
Yep. So it takes place in the oldest house, which is the setting of Control, which is one of my most favorite games ever. And it's after the first game. It's not a sequel because you don't play as Jesse Hayden at all. You play as a team of, I guess, employees who try to take out horrors that pop up from time to time in the oldest house. So it's
So I got the
Go ahead.
impression these were those kinds of guys trying to finish cleaning up the old house after Jesse was done. They're the guys that go through after the first one. They don't continue her story, but they're just like, okay, time to finish cleaning up now that things are back under control.
My impression is that, and there's also like more people appearing, more baddies appearing over time, just
think so?
because
Oh,
things
maybe.
have changed.
Yeah, that could be. Yep.
Anyway, so it's a multiplayer cooperative.
Yep,
Is that a
co-op.
word?
Co-op
Yeah,
shooter.
Co-op.
It's
Co-op
not
multiplayer.
competitive. You don't play against other people. You play with other people to beat
Yep.
the computer.
Which is smart because I think co-op games have a much higher chance of succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it looks phenomenal in my opinion. It's first-person shooter, unlike most other Remedy games.
I don't think
So
they have any
there's-
first-person shooters.
I think you're probably right.
They're all third.
Yeah, so there's a choice of at least 3 people. I don't know if there's more classes out there, but it doesn't seem like you have to spec out your class like in many other games. You just, from what they've hinted, you just kind of choose what you want, and that's what you get, which is fine by me. There's a lot of cool looking guns in it. There's like this jackhammer thing that launches you into the
Yeah.
air. You could also like smash people with it. It looks
So
really
it looks
cool.
like kind of what they're doing is they're taking the abilities that Jesse Faden has, and they're saying the scientists have figured out a way to kind of apply those abilities to objects, to guns and things like that. So
Yeah,
it looks
like you
you're
can shoot
gonna have
objects of power out, and
Yeah.
they do interesting things.
all kinds of weird stuff.
There's this big, slimy, goopy gun that you turn a crank and green stuff comes out. I don't know what it does. Looks super cool. Comes out in 2025. On day one, it will be available on the PlayStation Plus, whatever that tier is, catalog, as well as Game Pass.
Yep.
So hopefully that'll get people playing it because there's not a $50 entrance fee like there was with Concord.
Yeah, I think that's a
So-
smart move to go with the what do you call it, subscription options.
Yeah. They're not saying it's a live service game. It seems like it's a complete package, but they will be adding to it over time. So
Yeah.
it kind of does sound like a live service game.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between a game that gets added to and a live service game, because the live service games are like updated, monthly, and they change things around in the main game and have all these different kinds of tweaks and whatnot along the way, like Destiny.
You're right. And this seems like it's more static, where if you don't know, if you haven't played it in a couple years, you can still come in and
Yeah,
have
kind
a
of
good
like
time.
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this game is. Left 4 Dead, but instead of zombies, you do kill a lot of other baddies instead.
Which I am down for. It looks really good.
Yep. Very excited for this. Though Remedy really hasn't done a multiplayer game before.
I think this is their first time at that too.
So it'll be interesting how it turns out.
Uses the Northlight engine that has been so awesome with Control and Alan Wake 2, so I expect it to be quite the looker.
What do you think of this, Lando?
Looks to be a looker.
Did you play these games in VR, Jared? Alan Wake 2?
No.
No, they don't do VR.
Oh, dang.
I'm paying attention, Jaren.
I just wonder how immersive.
I just
they
don't
seem-
care.
They seem like thriller. They seem like thriller
want
games,
to.
which I just am not. I'm not
These
a
games
thriller
would be-
game person.
These games would be terrifying in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be. Their sounds are the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Like,
no thanks.
Their sound design it's spot on.
It's very good. Yep. All right, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about is this still relevant? The Minecraft story you have here? Did we talk about
Yeah.
this already?
No, I don't think we talked about it last
Minecraft?
week. So Minecraft released a James Webb Space Telescope DLC. You can go download the entire. It's a world basically, and it puts you on the James Webb Telescope. And as I was going to their website, if you go to Minecraft's website, you can actually download all of them for Artemis. I didn't know they had all these. They have Artemis. They have the ISS. They have the ISS. They have James Webb Space Telescope. It's mainly being used in schools for Minecraft education, but you can go get them if you want and spin them up and play them. Like go out into space in Minecraft. It's like you can't do that, right, Lando? Like space is not a normal
not a
playable
thing.
habitat. So
Minecraft education. Let me wrap my head around that phrase first.
it's so you would.
It's a big deal, Tony. Minecraft for education is a huge deal.
It's
I believe you,
huge.
and that's why I'm trying to wrap my head around it. When did I ever think we'd be using
It's like
video games
Oregon-
in school to
it's-
teach
it's-
kids? No.
My daughter looks forward every week to computer lab because they get to play Minecraft, and that it teaches them those fundamental geometry.
Well, there's
and
lots of things you can teach with it.
tons of stuff.
We've taught Scrum with it at work.
It's like school handing out drugs. I don't want my kids addicted to that.
You know what game I looked forward to playing in computer lab?
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
Boom.
Oregon
You-
Trail.
Except for I always died from dysentery.
Well, I mean, you got to quit eating drinking all that bad water.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't ever hunt. I was horrible at hunting.
All
My
I
kids
did
are
was-
like, "What does that mean? I died of dysentery." I'm like, "You would know if you know, you know." Like,
If
sorry.
you know, you know. Amazing.
Yep. Nice. Well, there you go. Minecraft
Yeah,
collaboration.
go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I thought about downloading it and then didn't do it because I jumped into the Gadget Spot Minecraft, and Lando and James abandoned me on there. So I just went and raided Lando's house and took all of his shulker boxes. Made a
As we
wall
should
of-
have.
as I am wont to do.
This is mine now. This is mine
Getting
now.
the shulker
That
boxes is a
that's
pain in
mine
the butt,
too.
so I
That's also mine.
full-heartedly support you in stealing them all.
There's a lot, by the way. That double shulker mod really helped you out.
It helps a big time. Because they should all drop 2. If the shulkers all have 2, they should always drop 2. That's my biggest
Yeah.
complaint about video games is when things should like when characters have like drops and they don't always drop them. It's like why? Especially if it's like part of their body, like a shell.
To make
A turtle should always drop turtle shells. Period.
Or when enemies have guns and they don't drop the guns.
Yep.
Right.
It's all
That's
Or they have
dumb.
no ammo.
But if you tell players that there's a 3% chance they'll drop it, players like me will sit there for hours.
You wish it
until
was
will.
3%. More
I
like
know.
0.3%.
I know. Gosh dang it! I was being super generous, but I'll still do it.
Oh yeah,
I'll still do it.
for sure. All right, time to review Silent Hill 2 Remake on the PC. I picked that one up to review. Hi, Lucy. Cat's over here now. Great. Picked that one up to review last week. It just came out last week before last. I think 2 Fridays ago it came out, or 2 Thursdays ago. And I have completed it all the way. It took about 16 or 17 hours. And this is the one we mentioned earlier, also by Bloober Team, and they have, like Jaron said, kind of a up and down history with their games. They almost always excel at atmosphere, and they pretty much only do horror games, but their atmosphere and their sound and their art design is usually pretty dang good. But the problem that Bloober Team has is they often don't seem to nail the gameplay aspect very well, or the technical aspect. And we got one of those two with Silent Hill 2. The gameplay in Silent Hill 2 Remake, I would say, is actually significantly better than Silent Hill 2, the original game on the PS2. They beefed up the combat, they beefed up the resources, and they actually made it fun. Whereas before, the combat in Silent Hill 2 wasn't very fun. Speaking of someone who played it back in the day, you played Silent Hill 2 for the scares, not for the combat. But this time you got both. So,
Are there people out there that like the scares?
oh yeah, dude.
Oh.
You know how many
Yeah,
games
not
are
me.
out there? You know how many games are out there that you can't actually do anything besides run from the bad guys because it's a scary game? Run or hide. I hate those games.
I watched a game on the internet the other day. It was you were playing golf while running from scary things. Like there's a monster chasing you while you were trying to play golf, and the
Still
guy
trying
was.
to get par.
That's
It was a
funny.
hard game to play because there was a scary monster chasing you the whole time.
Well, like there's games like Outlast where you can't do anything to fight the stuff that's coming after you. You just have to run away and hide. And Phasmophobia is kind of the same way. But yeah, it's just that does
This
not
one you
appeal
get
to
to-
me.
You get to shoot back in this one.
Yeah, exactly. There's a shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol, as well as a board with a nail in it.
I love that weapon.
Yep, you got your board with a nail in it that you end up having to use for something else about halfway through the game, and to replace that, you get a big pipe, a big iron pipe. So, gameplay wise, it was fun. It was quite well done. They nailed the atmosphere again. It felt like Silent Hill 2. The graphics looked, for the most part, quite good. Did I mention the sound? I don't think I have yet. The sound was top notch. The sound was excellent, and that is a huge factor in a good horror game. And they absolutely nailed it with that. Now the downside. This is what keeps this game from being an instant recommend. And the problem is it does not run good. It doesn't matter how powerful your PC is. It has
Not
a
optimized.
problem with traversal stutter. And when I say a problem, it's a big problem. You can't go more than maybe 100 feet in any direction in the game until it starts to load in new assets and just chugs.
And you feel it.
And you see it.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's another issue as well where the frame rate of the camera and the frame rate of the movement of your character doesn't sync up correctly. So you think you might be having a problem where your game is stuttering, but it turns out it's just the character stuttering and the actual frame rate of the game is consistent. So these are the same issues that plagued Star Wars Jedi Survivor, except I would say it's more apparent in Silent Hill 2 with the traversal stutter.
Well, it's because you're seeing Jedi Survivor in a semi-patched state a year and a half later.
That's true. That's a fair point. And apparently they just put out a patch today, the day after I beat it, that's supposed to address quite a few of the technical issues, but there wasn't anything mentioned in the patch notes about traversal stutter or character frame rate update. So I don't think that's going to be fixed with the 1.04 patch.
How does that go out past QA when they launch a game? Like that
Well,
like
I
you have to be so
guarantee-
careful with that, because if the community's like, this is unplayable, they could just take a beating in Steam reviews and stuff, and like just
This game got lucky enough in the reviews that it's getting a little bit of the Elden Ring treatment, where it runs like trash, but the game
it's so good.
is quite good, especially if you're a horror fan, that you still want to play it anyway. And eventually my eyes did get used to the stutter, so I didn't notice it as much once I got about 30% of the way through the game. And so at that point, I was going for it. And I decided, if I said I'm going to buy a game to review, I'm going to play it all the way through, even if it runs poorly, unlike some people on this panel. And
I don't know who those people could be.
I finished all the games I played.
So do I.
I'm not talking about either of you. Neither of you have quit a game because it ran poorly. There's
James?
another guy.
I've
who's
quit
done
games
it
because they're not
twice.
fun.
Does he have-
It's
Wait,
not
does he have-
nice to talk
does he
about
have-
Ling like that.
Does he have
he's only on the
fabulous
show
hair?
sometimes.
Tony, does he have fabulous hair?
He does.
He's fabulous hair. Okay.
Yep.
And does
Jared's
he have a
done that
deal?
twice.
It's Jared. Okay.
Once.
So, twice. You did it with
Once.
Jedi Survivor too.
No, I did my 10 hours of Jedi Survivor like you
did
asked.
not. You did like 5.
I did too.
Anyway, so that all being said, if you are a big fan of Silent Hill games or horror games in general, it is an easy recommend were it not for the technical issues. The technical issues being what they are, I would say wait. Hopefully they get fixed. And the technical issues do appear as well on the console from what I've seen. So it just happens more frequently on the PC because they didn't spend as much time optimizing that for the PC as they did for the Xbox or the PlayStation.
So you likely get a patch in a year, right?
Well, hopefully they still haven't fully fixed Jedi Survivor, the company that makes that one. So I would say if you're hard up for a horror game right now, get it on a console and just try not to pay attention to the stutters. Were it not for the stutters, this would be a 9 out of 10 game, a 9 out of 10 horror game, easy. It's awesome. But because of the stutters, I can only give it like a 7. It's bad. Wait for the patches. All right, moving along to not stutters, but shutters. Netflix has decided to close its AAA gaming studio.
One of them.
There's a big surprise.
I know.
I think the only one. It started in 2022.
Yeah.
They hired former Overwatch executive producer Chaco Sunny to run the studio. They brought in a number of game industry veterans and from Halo, God of War.
Yep.
But they shuttered it without releasing anything.
Just
2 years
goodbye.
of nothing.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
That's the Netflix model, though, right? Like, just throw wild noodles everywhere and see if they
They usually at least get
see if they
one
get a
season out.
See if they get a Stranger Things or a Chaos.
Yep.
Chaos. They canceled that after
know.
one season.
Those jerks, and it was so good. Okay, now let's talk about this new piece of kit from Analogue. I'm very excited for it. It is the Analogue.
Me too.
What do they call it? The Analogue 64?
Yeah.
The Analog 3D.
Analog 3D. Okay.
Yep. And
That's how excited I am for it.
as Tony hinted, this is the analog version of the Nintendo 64, and it looks fantastic.
So, man, it does.
Yeah, costs $250. Comes in
I saw
black.
this.
Comes in whitish gray. I really like that white.
Me too.
It looks really good.
It does look good.
But it's kind of Nintendo 64 styling, but smaller and more modern looking.
Yep. You could tell
But,
what they were going for. Like, if you
yeah.
look at that, you're like,
If you squint, you're like
anyone
hey.
that didn't know, they'd be like, is that an N64?
Yeah.
And yeah.
They're saying that it's at 100% compatible with Nintendo 64's library, utilizing FPGA tech, which is notable because other FPGA tech, like the Mister, is not compatible with the entire N64 library.
Well, it's
As
because
well as
Analogue
many-
develops their own cores for the FPGA to make it work.
Yep, and of course, many emulators, all emulators out there have trouble running some games without some major hacks. And on top of that, they have a lot of CRT emulation style filters in there to make
Get
it
that
look
4.3
appropriate.
Get that old 4.3 tastiness.
Up-reses too.
It does the basic 4x3 standard, which you would expect, 'cause that's what the games were built for. They say they support VRR. I have no idea what that means.
Well, the thing about saying they support VRR, that's weird, is because N64 didn't have any games that fit within a VRR window of frames.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like the best window right now for that on a TV is 40 to 60 frames per second. And I think you can count the number of 60 frames per second games N64 had on like two hands.
F-Zero.
Was that one 60?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Other interesting things, they claim that there's a setting that will make games that run slowly run at full speed.
Oh, that's what I'm interested in.
Really curious about that, because in emulation, that breaks games a lot.
Yeah.
Not all games, of course, but so interested to see how that works, as well as the CRT filters, and just the whole package. It outputs 4K.
It's got HDMI.
4K is great.
It's got 4 controller ports. It's got built-in
And
Bluetooth.
They have worked with 8BitDo to release a Nintendo 64 controller, but it actually looks good, unlike the normal Nintendo 64 controller.
You look at it and you're like, oh, that's what Nintendo should have made.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of
Okay,
3
so
prongs,
close.
it's
So
the
close.
standard controller shape, which is great, with one joystick on the left, no joystick on the right, because the Nintendo 64 didn't have one. It has C buttons, it has the A and B button. It looks like a good controller. I'm curious how they handle the trigger button, though, because there's only one trigger.
Well, you just have it on the left hand, your Z button.
Okay.
It uses cartridges, right?
Yeah,
You
cartridges.
just
Your
straight
own
plug in
Nintendo
your
64
N64
cartridges.
cartridge into the top.
Yep. It looks very, very solid. Wait to see how reviews are, of course.
Nope, I already
'cause
pre-ordered it.
they're making,
Have you really?
Yep, I
Tony
did.
impulse bought
That's
this
awesome.
I had to.
in my opinion,
Yeah.
they're making some lofty claims, but I think Analogue has earned the trust generally, so
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to believe them than not.
Can
They
you
haven't-
run emulation on these? Could you
So-
run emulation on these if you wanted to?
If you had
First
a
off-
cartridge with
First off,
ROMs on it,
Analogue
maybe.
has an excellent track record, so I think you can probably take these at face value, probably. Secondly, for emulation, it does not support emulation out of the box, unless if you can find one of those cartridges that has an SD
Like the-
card built into
yeah.
the top. You will probably be able to do those because those work on regular N64s too. However, it does have an SD card slot on the back.
So
And-
maybe something.
Analog does not. They're okay. What am I trying to say? They don't. They're
Condone?
not mad. They're not mad if someone hacks their stuff to make it better.
Oh, okay.
And so I would put money on within a month of this coming out that someone's made
Some
a way for
side
you to run
loading.
games off the SD card.
Yeah. Do you think that SD card right now is for game save data? Like, because that one of the
Probably,
things,
yeah, because
Okay.
you're a lot of your N64 games you had to use the memory
card in the controller.
memory card. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
Neat.
comes with like an SD. I could have sworn I saw that it came with an SD card, just like a 16 gig or something small. But it's crazy. To
I'm
think
in.
about
I'm in
the
for this.
16 gigs on an N64 was like
The entire catalog.
not quite, but pretty freaking
Yeah.
close when you think about it. The biggest cartridges on the N64 were 512 megabit cartridges, right? That was Resident Evil 2 used that cartridge, and then I want to say Zelda, not Ocarina of Time, the other one.
Majora's Mask?
Very good. Majora's Mask, I think also, and Donkey Kong. Anyway, I could be off about those two, but I know for a fact that Resident Evil 2 used this 512 megabit cartridge, which sounds like a lot, but notice it was megabit and not megabyte. So you got to divide that by 8. That means that cartridge only had 64 megabytes.
That's crazy.
Was what that game fit into.
Which is where the N64 came from, right? The 64.
no, it came.
Oh,
The
come
64
on.
came because it was 64-bit processor.
Oh, processor.
Yeah. So
Do you still have all your N64 games?
you bet I do.
Nice.
No, I'm lying. I sold all of my N64 games a long time ago, but I've rebought them over the years. So I have them. They just weren't my original ones.
Did you pay more for them or less?
I'm sure I paid more. So
Still, it looks pretty exciting, and for $250,
I am super stoked for this.
I'm in.
I can't wait.
I'm gonna wait for a Tony review, and then I'm probably gonna.
Well, you
Probably
will
gonna
be
buy
wait-
it.
You will be waiting a while because the pre-order started yesterday, but the thing isn't going to release until spring of 2025. So we got
Got
6
another
months.
6 months before it even comes out.
No, man, I kind of want one now, but I have no games.
Just start buying games. They're not expensive.
What's the first N64 game you would get, Jared? Just
Smash
start there.
Brothers.
Smash Brothers.
Fine
Yeah.
choice.
There you go. There you go. That's your first step. Get that, and then you'll feel like you wasted your money if you don't get the console.
Yeah, the thing is though, it runs pretty well on emulation, and I already have that set up on
Well, what's the first
numerous
game you'd buy
machines.
if you didn't? What's a game that's emulation broke that you would want to play?
I have no idea. I'm not that into N64.
No, just trying to help you get
You're
there.
trying to
to
push
that.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, get to that point where you can tip over the edge and buy it.
Very, very cool stuff from Analogue. All right. Couple of short stories here as well. In news that everyone saw coming, Squadron 42, the single-player campaign of Star Citizen, has been delayed.
Is Star Citizen even out of
Dude, there's a really interesting article, and I should have linked
Beta yet?
to it. No, it's not even out of alpha.
Yeah.
It's still considered alpha.
How do they have a spin-off out of Alpha?
So they...
I mean, is there a common law marriage at this point? Like, is it common?
law marriage.
Is it common law at this point? Like, it's been released. Like, you can't stay in Alpha for 50 years.
You would think. But they announced Squadron 42 in 2014. So that means
10 years ago. Wow.
if they hit their now delayed yet again release date of 2026, this game will have been in development for 12 years. And that's just this single player campaign.
Yeah.
That doesn't include all the other people working on the regular Star Citizen, multiplayer experience, persistent game online.
Like, how did these guys
Stuff.
get the pass? Like, the game just kind of stuck around, and they just kept delaying it.
It's because they keep...
But then they just got a pass. Now they
game-
delay it again. Everybody's just like, oh yeah. I mean, you can play it. It's in.
Nobody expects them to actually finish this.
Yeah.
Finish these games. This game is the absolute definition and epitome of the term scope creep on a project.
Yeah. Where it's like, and what about this?
Yep.
What about this?
And there's a really interesting article I saw earlier this week that talked about that and how they interviewed some people that have worked there, and at the time that these people worked there, they said there was like no focus on actually getting the game done. Like actually
all about
putting out a
It's all about
1.0
side
product.
quests.
It was all about just
So somebody wants to make
catering
this
to the whims of the
airtight.
executive
Yeah,
team
so-
when they
yeah.
say, I want this in here. I want
Yeah.
this in here. Let's
or
put this
somebody's
in
just
here."
like, this has to have there has to be absolutely no loopholes or loose threads in this. Everything
Hold
has
on,
to
that-
be.
It's way too big for them to
Yeah.
even consider that. Now, all being said, this game has raised $729 million in the last 12 years, and that's
Squadron
not
42
investors.
or
That's
is
not
that
investors. That's $729 million from fans buying early access and ships in the game and all
that's
of
Star
these things.
Citizen?
Star Citizen,
Or is that
yeah.
that's not Squadron 42?
No, Squadron 42 is included in the purchase of the second package, I think, for Star Citizen. You can get Star Citizen by itself,
okay.
or you can get Star Citizen and Squadron 42 for a little bit more money. If this ever actually comes out, though, it has the potential to be pretty awesome. The cast for this, it's all been voiced and motion captured by, listen to this cast, Gary Oldman, Henry
Okay.
Cavill, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson,
Whoa.
Andy
what a cast.
Serkis, and Sophie Wu, among others.
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong is in there. Yep.
Wow, that's a big cast.
Oh man, it's huge as far as like the production value they're putting into this.
Are they full lines though, or is it
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mark Hamill as a cat? You know, in
No,
an
no, no.
alley? Okay.
They are fully modeled to look just like the actors. It's crazy.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, that's the update there. The update is there's no update basically.
Squadron 42, is it coming fully baked? They're saying, or is it just a DLC for Star Citizen?
It's its own standalone thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, set in the Star Citizen universe. Another quick bite of news here: Spider-Man 2 coming to the PC, baby.
I love this trend of Sony games, especially PS5 games, coming to PC. This one is normally it's been like 2 years. This one it's been accelerating. This one is like 14 months or so.
Right around there, and you're getting the awesome Nixies team doing the port.
Yep. So it pretty much ensures it's going to be an awesome port. Sony's done a fairly good job at porting their games. Comes out January 30th. I'm excited. If I ever finish the first one, that is.
Sony
And there you go.
Sony is more hit than miss on their PC ports, but when they miss pretty hard. Like The Last of Us Part 1, that was a turd.
They
when it came out.
mostly fixed it though.
And then same thing with the biggest victory of patching though was definitely Horizon Zero Dawn. That thing was dookie when it came out, but it's in a great state now. So
Yeah, it's really
they
good.
at least follow it up. So yeah, kudos to them for that. Spider-Man 2 is fantastic. I super enjoyed that game. Let's see. Oh, this is another short one. Nintendo Online's secret project got leaked about 5 minutes after it went live for the people that signed up for it. It's this mysterious Switch Online playtest, and they were asked not to reveal anything if you got into it. Come on now.
Come
Yeah.
on.
You
Pretty
think people aren't going
please.
to tell you what's going on?
I feel like this
So-
is just a marketing scheme nowadays, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, within minutes, someone was leaking what it was, and it's basically a massively multiplayer kind of Nintendo-style game that you know, it's a casual kind of game. You're on this giant planet, and you farm resources and build on your own plot of land, and everyone lives on this planet, and you know, make your little farm and your
They're
house
using
and
Nintendo characters, or
develop your area. No, it
And
does the
you
same
catch Pokemon and make them
Yes.
shoot guns. and
thing. Wait a minute.
Wait
Sounds
a
That's a different game,
second.
Jaren.
They're like, and we sued Palworld for this IP
Yeah.
for their source code.
So yeah, it's a bunch of, you know, it's going to have a lot of user generated content, things like that. So, you know, we'll report more as that information comes to light, but it's just funny. It's like, did you expect people not to post about this online? Come on now.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of God of War television show news, and I think we'll probably wrap it up at that point.
This one's a quickie. So Amazon kind of dismantled the God of War team for their TV show, but I think they did that with good cause, because now they're bringing on Ronald Moore as the showrunner.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, I'm
Yep.
super in now.
Yep. He's going to
Ronald
be writer, EP, and showrunner.
Oh,
Okay,
gosh,
showrunner,
this is
yeah.
going to be good now.
Yeah, thought you'd like that.
This is fantastic news. So, if you don't know Ronald Moore, he is just a legend in science fiction television, and so it'll be interesting to see him do some fantasy stuff now. But he did a lot of Star Trek work. He was huge for Star Trek: The Next Generation. He did the Battlestar Galactica reboot,
Battlestar.
and it is
Mhm.
absolutely freaking phenomenal.
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine, and currently he's the guy behind For All Mankind on Apple TV, which is
That's a
absolutely
great show.
phenomenal. So yeah, I'm super excited for this now. Good job,
Yes,
Amazon. You made a good choice.
He also did Outlander, by the way. Have you guys ever watched that? My wife's into that, so I know
Ronald
about
Moore
it.
did Outlander.
It's on the list here of the
What?
shows.
Yep.
Because it's a time travel show.
Well, now I'm gonna have to watch that. There goes, there goes that.
Poor
I had-
Tony.
I had absolutely no interest in that show.
It's
my
got
wife
some
has
scenes-
watched. My wife has watched it, and yeah, she tells me it's quite spicy.
It is quite spicy.
Well,
And I
now
was
you
just
have a
like,
bonding experience with your wife.
well, she'll rewatch it. You betcha. Okay, well, there you go. Now I got something to add to the list of viewing Outlander. All right, that's the end of this episode. Thank you for making it this far. Before we go, big shout out to our awesome Patreon backers. Lando, tell them what they get.
Oh, you get all the things. All the things for being a Patreon backer. First of all, if you donate $6 or more, which is the tippity top ultra tier, you get to make Jaren say whatever you want, which is a big freaking deal. You make your Patreon name, you know, hey, I'm awesome, Jaren sucks, and he's going to say it, and it's awesome. But for only $1, for just one small dollar a month, you can get access to the super secret Discord, which is awesome. Direct access to the host anytime you want us. You just say, hey, Lando, come talk to me, and I'll be there. I should make that true.
I was going to say, when has that ever happened?
It's going to happen, and it's going to be a
okay.
perk. As soon as someone
Sure.
subscribes for $1, one person, if I see it, we get notified anytime you subscribe, and when it happens, I will be there.
Yeah.
You get access to the shows early. So right now, if you're listening to Arcade and you're not a Patreon, you're having to wait all the way till Friday to hear the show. That sucks. You want the show on Wednesday with the in-between? Pay us $1, and it's yours. Super secret.
Yeah.
That's it. Just $1.
And you get your own
Sacrifice a
private...
McDonald's trip one time a month, and you're there.
Yeah.
You can't get anything for
All
$1
kinds of-
at
all kinds-
McDonald's.
I know, but
A
you get
drink?
my point.
No, they
That's the
changed
thing.
it.
You can't get anything for $1, but we're on your dollar menu, guys. Let's go.
We are the dollar menu.
We are the dollar menu.
Super secret private RSS feed, the in-between show, which is, you know, pretty good content, right? We just sit and BS for 10 minutes between the shows, and it's awesome. You're missing out if you don't know about it. We're talking about you, I guarantee you.
All the things Lando said are
FOMO.
true, even though he is vastly overselling them. All right, Jaren.
I am not. Are they?
Let's have-
It's all true.
Shout out to our awesome Patreon backers.
Thank you to David Broshinsky, Aaron Faulkner, Connor Kislaw, and Pablo Sanchez is the GOAT. Thank you, guys. Jason Eatman, cuando escucho esta canción, mi corazón quiere cantar así, bidi bidi bom bom. No more climbs that can't be mountain hilled over. You know who else is a Patreon? My mom, be the
Yes,
8-year-old.
she is.
Michael Shane, Tony Home Theater Geek, Travis Johnson, buy Geekshow Arcade Top Desk stickers at Pyman Graphics on Etsy. All proceeds go to Lee George Cade's medical bills. Jeremy, No Name No Color, Keslow, Eric Steinman, Eric Cruz, the In-Between Rating plus 20, Matt Nelson, DP, Wesley, Adam, Stuart Lloyd. The problem with society is meatballs is tasty, and Ryan. Thank you.
All right,
you,
thank you
guys.
so much, Patreon backers. You are freaking awesome. We're all done here. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. Owen, take us out.
Hey, we hope you care.